2.
Vale,
Shota
pues,
Yasuoka, your boy
volvemos al
there,
directo.
Mani. Your boy at
There
7
goes
and
my
2.
goat.
Javier Dominguez sitting at 7 and 2. This is just unreal. I am so very excited to find out what happens.
Javier Domínguez
in these
7-2.
next few rounds. One more round
Ojo,
of draft. and
Adrián
then
Íñigo
over to
6-3.
standard for the rest of the tournament. There's a look at your
Y de Braz
standings after
7-2 ahora
round
mismo.
number
Se perdió la
9.
del draft.
Cedric, you've got an update for us from the draft
Ha perdido 2 de draft y ha ganado una. Le toca construido. Llega en el mejor momento, tío, por eso me he puesto aquí.
All these good players in these pods together, and so as we take a look at our draft pod number 1 here with Simon and John Emmanuel and Seth and Lucas and Marcio, you see the 2 records here of Marcio and Seth at 8-1. They're about to do battle. Of course, Marcio 2
No, pero la del draft ya ha acabado.
Seth 2015
Realmente, ¿no?
world champion.
Nos
and
queda
of
la
course,
última,
one
vale.
from Orders,
Queda la última, sí.
Karlov, man,
Son 5-2,
Chicago
tal.
earlier this
Ok.
year. Next up, we're going to go to pod number 2, where we're going to see Ely Cassis again continuing to headline things. Shohei Nakamura having a tough spot here.
Fadri 6-3, hay un poco.
Going up against, Ha Pham,
A ver si puede
who
ser.
qualified for this tournament via regional championship, I do believe. But one thing we know about Ely is that he's qualified via constant success, and of course is also a world championship runner-up. On to pod number 3, where we will turn our attention to Shota Yasuoka. You a fan of this?
Tony 5-4.
Well, 2006 player of the year,
Radio
among
6-3.
many other accomplishments.
Yasuoka
Two-time
7-2,
Pro Tour champion as well.
¿Cómo
He's gonna go
remonta,
up
tío?
against Rei Hirayama, excuse me. That's going to be an interesting and fun match between those two. And then last but not least, my GOAT, my dark horse.
Cuando entre eso lleva
I've never
Domínguez.
heard of before, Javier Dominguez.
I thought JED was your dark horse.
Yeah, so as I said, Javi, my goat and my dark horse here this weekend. 2-0 in the pod, 7-2 now is the record. Going to be going up against Yoshihiko Ikawa, who of course won Pro Tour Thunder Junction in Seattle earlier this year. So just a couple of good matches to come up. Nothing crazy here in Las Vegas.
This is awesome. This is awesome stuff, everybody. So excited to be here with you. Let's take a look at our feature match here for round number 10. It's our tournament co-leaders, Marcio Carvalho and Seth Manfield, both on 8 and 1. The winner is playing for top 8 in standard, because remember, 10 is our magic number of wins. If you get that before the final round, you're into the top 8, so putting themselves in excellent position here. Marcio, 2-time runner-up at the World Championship. Seth Manfield, your 2015 World Champion, Hall of Famer, 2-time Pro Tour winner, won a Mythic Championship as well. Those are the players. Awesome matchup. Mani, talk to me about the decks.
Well, this is the last round of Dustmourne Draft here. And I'm really excited because if you are a fan of creature strategies and beatdown, you have to keep an eye on this.
O sea, de Braz ha perdido los dos el draft, Ojo.
Marcio, Boros aggro, incredible curved combat tricks, removal, one of those signpost uncommons in Midnight Mayhem. Deck looks great. Marcio, one of the best aggressive players of all time. Other side of the board, Seth Manfield. What is he playing? Boros, curve.
Seth Manfield cada vez jugando el mismo deck en draft, por así decirlo, ¿sabes?
Seth, one of the best aggressive players of all time. Getting to watch a Boros aggro, one of the best archetypes in this format, mirror match between two of the best to ever play a combat.
Picado 3 Acrobatic Cheerleader, joder.
Is such a delight.
Oh, this is awesome. Mani, though, I'm going to put it to you. Who's going to be our tournament leader after this match?
I got to go with Marcio. I don't know.
Sweet.
I feel it. He's on a rampage.
All right, let's find out what happens. It's time for the final round of draft here at World Championship 30. I'm going to send it on over to the booth. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Welcome back to the booth here. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. And as I mentioned, you know, one of the features of Limited is that it is so heavily based on creature combat, and it doesn't get any more creature combat-y than these two archetypes. Same one facing off against each other, red, white, Boros in the hands of both of our players. And we've got some experts at these type of decks. Marcio Carvalho versus Seth Manfield. You know, we mentioned it with John Emmanuel Duprat before. And by the way, you're seeing a theme here. Some of the best players in the world are the best limited players in the world too. Seth Manfield is
cada vez Seth Manfield, o sea, jugando el mismo deck, o sea, más o menos, a ver, de draft obviamente, pero los dos por sagro. Súper raro en verdad, porque los dos han tocado la misma mesa realmente, pero había suficiente pool como para que los dos han podido montar el mismo arquetipo de deck, tío.
He loves to be aggressive as well, even in limited.
He
also chooses aggressive constructed decks, so this is a clash of the titans here, and they're both playing the exact same archetype. One note though,
Aquí vamos a ver cuál era el mejor mazo, por así decirlo, el mejor deck. Es que, a ver, un deck tiene que tener peor calidad que el otro, 100%. Yo están viendo el mismo pool, pero los dos han hecho el mismo arquetipo. Realmente, para mí que sí, ¿sabes?
Hitting the battlefield turn 2 here for Manfield. Carvalho follows up with fear of surveillance, but it's not going to do much here. And
Es buenísimo, se queda más 0 indestructible a otro atacante.
2-drop and a 3-drop for Manfield. Can Marcio meet that same pace?
And look, Seth, if you're Marcio, you have to feel pretty bad about this. Seth chose not to discard off the Irreverent Gremlin trigger just because he likes the land, the machete, and the bargain here.
He's got the goods.
Now, Trapped in the Screen was a pretty big draw here from Marcio, allowing him to deal with the escort here.
He also topped off of the surveillance from
supongo.
Off of the surveil.
So it must be a land or a removal spell. I can't imagine keeping anything else based on the complexion of Marcio's hand here.
Marcio has Norin, Swift Survivalist in his hand. There's some interesting things you can do with that card. Generally, kind of turn it sideways,
right.
But
one cool thing about the interaction between Conductive Machete and Irreverent Gremlin is that the Manifest creature actually comes into play as a 2/2, so you do get the Irreverent Gremlin trigger,
18-16.
even though you would think it would be a 4/3 when it comes into play. And then we have an interesting choice. Do you throw away that turn inside out for potentially another creature, or do you just keep it? Oh, and that should ring alarm bells for Marcio Carvalho. Seth with 4 lands in play.
Son más ventajas de cartas, pero ahora mismo sí, yo creo que lo puede ganar realmente Carvalho.
So you know that's going to be a relevant creature that's
como va el
based on the
game,
Seth Manfield side.
Para mí que sí, ¿eh?
will have noticed that for sure.
O sea, tiene un buen open aquí Manfield, pero realmente con el exilio ese ha quitado el bicho importante, tiene un buen blocker.
I wonder if Marcio will try to bluff damage here with Fear of Surveillance. He's kind of behind here. You know that's a valuable creature. And Marcio does have a couple of turn inside outs in his deck, right?
Okay. He's not, but he is going to continue his curve.
Right.
He plays Vicious.
Quizá el de Carvalho. Carvalho tiene los dos costes 1, esos que son bastante buenos. Para un buen open. Ahora mismo no tiene mucha importancia, sacan un poco soletos en el game, pero están bien.
That's right. Land number 5 now for Manfield.
Yeah, and this is going to be really
under
tough
that
here.
manifest.
Right, and the thing is, Seth can just use Betrayer's Bargain to kill the clown, and you just get a pretty clean attack with both creatures.
Vale con todo. Pilla el robo agresivo ahora mismo en la partida. Tiene un turno instalado. Puede ponerle otro manifest si quiere. O darle la vuelta a ese, claro. Pasan 4. Nos pasan... ¿Cuánto pega, tío? Se da más 0 o algo, ¿no? Sí. Se va a 10, Carvalho.
Taking it?
Just racing.
Go.
Really curious what that face down card is on Seth Manfield's side.
That's what Manfield has access to here. He can Betrayer's Bargain and turn inside out. He also could potentially transform whatever that thing is.
Yeah, so we get a double trigger here from the Vicious Clown.
Off of the Unsettling Twins. The Clown gets huge. It looks like it's going to have a hard time racing at this point, but it is a lot of damage. 10 coming across.
Seth does have access to
el agresivo, tiene el bargain ese. Sí, el mata básicamente. Te va a quitar el que tiene más 3/0 cuando tienes delirio y para adelante. Pasan 2. Tiene un turno insegado. Puede quizás... Dios, puede marcarse aquí la robada del siglo Manfield, pero no creo realmente. Con la mejor que tiene Carvalho le interesa tradear y tal. Voy a robar otra por llanura.
We show that he has turn inside out. It was unlikely to be relevant in that situation, but maybe just a subtle signal.
Representing jump scare over.
Yeah, or just I don't care about my red mana, and therefore you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, leaving up the white also because Seth also has jump scare. So leaving up the white could be like, hey, I'm keeping up jump scare, but in reality he actually has turn inside out.
Right. Carvalho is going to double block, it looks like, with the Unsettling Twins, both of them.
And it looks like this is just going to probably be a turn inside out.
Como ordena las lance, Manfield.
Coste 3, ahí está. A manifest token. Wait, what is this?
This is going to transform. Oh, it's a Ripken Razorkin in.
Oh,
la robada, ¿eh?
Picks up the win.
Dios.
And Marcio Carvalho, you know, it's these little tiny things. Sometimes they go unnoticed or they don't matter, and sometimes they actually do. maybe Marcio said,
tenía Carvalho controlada, Madre mía. Madre mía, hermano.
All right, so game number 1, a quick one, as they tend to be in this matchup, goes to Seth Manfield. Now, to set the stage on a bigger picture here, if you take a look at our players' records, they're both 8-1 and they're playing for this pod. But Paul, if whoever picks up the win is 9-1, you only need to get to 10 wins to secure top 8 at the World Championship.
Aquí Manfield no equipea ninguna montaña y creo que es entendible por qué no la ha hecho, creo. La ha robado ahora, bueno. Vale, pero entiendo por qué la ha hecho. O sea, realmente está donde Draw está jugando un match que es casi lo mismo, no quieres perder una carta, puedes robar. En este caso, la LAN que te falta, ok. Incluso si pillas una llanura cualquiera, tienes 3 llanuras, bueno, pues ir jugando la mano, ok, hasta que encuentres la montaña. Y siendo casi un mirror, por así decirlo, aquí la pusha un montón. Los dos han jugado lo mismo, literalmente. Siendo casi un mirror, no pueden permitirse al tanto mulligan, ¿verdad? Porque van por detrás en la partida. ¡Qué locura!
This is perfect.
This is everything you want. The survival cards plus vehicles. You don't see it that often. There's only a couple of rare vehicles in the entire set, but that is a match made in heaven here. And Seth with just the perfect start. Meanwhile, Marcio stumbling, no 2-drop, just a Vicious Clown.
He has Betrayer's Bargain here, though, right?
He does.
Yeah, see, this is the tough part, because he'd actually rather kill the hover ship, but he's going to take out the Glimmer Seeker. Planes.
He's got an exercise which you can use on the hover ship. Found the planes.
Oh, he did find the planes.
Has a lot of removal actually too.
So hay llanura,
hover ship off the battlefield.
Brutal.
Then you can manifest a token as well, or you can maybe spend more mana and just try to get in for 3 here with the Midnight Mayhem.
That's what he's going to do. Okay. He's going to get in while the getting is good. Remember, these are going to also swing the life total back in his favor, because at least temporarily they'll have lifelink.
Yeah. And if Marcio doesn't draw a cheap creature, another Plains wouldn't be the worst draw, because he could double spell and use, for example, Seize from Slumber plus Exercise to kind of turn things around. But now he just got an army of 1/1s, which really don't do that much, given that Seth's probably going to add to his board.
And remember, that clown that you see over on Seth's side has been exiled. It's not on the battlefield. Speaking of clowns, the clown show continues. The Vicious Clown comes down, jumps in the hover ship. And it's another 4 damage coming across. So Carvalho, with that Plains, has given himself a chance, but he is still under some very nice pressure.
Keeping one back.
Yeah, just for clown blocks.
Just to block the clown. I wonder if he drew something like a turn inside out or something, just to maybe perhaps even trade with the clown, or just try to mitigate the damage that he takes.
I mean, the clown can hit for 6, right? All of a sudden.
Yep, and he found a ragged playmate, so
ahí mismo, verdad que Manfield me tiene bastante menos presión. O sea, tela de presión realmente.
Do I keep up the Seize from Slumber? Do I go Exercise? He can cast any 3 of those cards if he wants, so it's going to be pretty big here. Noting that if Marcio passes, it's pretty unlikely for Seth to actually crew up the hover ship. So yeah, just going for the Exercise here and making sure that he gets the Manifest here instead. Just one small note, that is, if this was going to be his plan, might be better to start with Exercise, just in case maybe you manifest something that you might want to flip over. But hey, Marcio, look at the board now. Marcio is the one with more permanents in play.
Yeah,
now Seth is the one that's stuck on 3 lands and is only able to add one permanent to the board each turn. And Marcio's got a hand with 2 removal spells here too.
That Plains was
huge.
Massive. He needed that, and he needed it then.
Yeah, and drawing a 2-drop here was also great, because you can go 2-drop plus use the Exercise there on the hover ship.
The interesting question is, if the pendulum has swung back towards Marcio, is he able to apply pressure? Because look at Seth's hand. Like, if he can find a couple of lands, all of those things will come onto the battlefield, and theoretically that would put him back ahead.
Right. Now Seth is just weighing kind of his options, thinking, am I still supposed to be aggressive here, or do I need to start keeping some creatures back? If so, how many? Cheerleader might want to get in there, right, just because it's a flyer. And then, getting really aggressive.
Still staying aggressive.
And now Marcio's going, is it time to race?
Right. Once again, by the way, turn inside out is front and center. Seth Manfield with that very ominous mountain sitting there, and a needed double block on a clown.
Right, and this is an attack for 6. If he takes this, he goes down to 7.
He does have Seize from Slumber to take down the Acrobat at some point.
Right, but if he uses that, Seth does have the turn inside out to turn that into a manifest token.
Yeah.
Now with Trapped in the Screen, you can actually use that as protection.
Yeah, and you know, but I'm looking at Marcio's board, and if you're facing down a manifest on the ground, fine. If you're facing down a 2/2 flyer, that's a problem.
Yep, absolutely.
So he's actually going to take the more conservative route here, Marcio. He's just going to chump block with a Gremlin. Take 2 in the air, prevent the 4. This plays around turn inside out, and it also could potentially strand that mana for Seth. Normally 1 mana stranded is like, thumbs up, I did it.
Yeah.
In this case, that's 1/3 of his total mana. Yeah. He may just want to also try to use it to upgrade his Fear of Surveillance.
And look at this, attacking with both 2/2s. If Seth chooses to block and go turn inside out, Marcio can get the clean 2-for-1 here by casting Seize from Slumber in response to the turn inside out to get, so that Seth doesn't get the manifest token here. And Seth knows this.
He does.
He could have an instant speed removal spell here, and if he does, I am in some trouble here. Maybe you just
he
go
may
for the
just
trade.
say, "Is that okay?"
Right. And
yeah.
yep.
See, this is where
there's levels to this.
There's levels to this, and these guys are at the absolute top level.
There's a ticket booth here, and if Marcio's going to run out that Seize from Slumber, you definitely just want to wait. Seth is stuck on lands. So just
la run esa es la polla. Sí, no, esta no es. Tira de los 4 palos, ¿dónde coño está? Gran pregunta. Pero bueno, Manifested, que no está mal aquí.
Once you hit land number 6, you're also kind of interested in unlocking Tunnel of Hate.
Right. There's also the white mana scenario here for Carvalho. If he draws, you know, he wants to deploy these cards, and he's only able to cast 1 white card per turn currently with the 1 plains.
Yeah, if the game kind of goes long, you're kind of like Seth's side, just because he's got 6 spells in hand, but
yeah,
the lack of land here really hurting Seth.
Grand entryway now for
pues va a empatar bastante la partida, ¿eh? O sea, los dos al final no podían hacer mulligan porque han pegado una mano a la cual, o sea, tiene los colores para jugar realmente, pero no quieres forzar mulligan ni de coña, o sea, jugando una especie de mirror, por así decirlo, ¿vale? O sea, porque al final, bueno, pues va a tradear bastante y va a contar muchas cartas que tenga en mano. Ninguno hace mulligan, como es normal, y o sea, que tiene relevancia, o sea, tiene bastante relevancia en verdad.
Clown did trigger this turn, in they come.
She was like, God, that turn inside out. What do I do? Do I chump again?
It's so funny. It's loomed over this game the whole time.
Right.
Marcio does not know that Seth has it, and Seth immediately passes priority back.
Okay, he's making him do it now.
And now Seth gets to respond.
It's like, is that a destroy or exile effect? And Seth probably just has to use his mana.
I mean, it just feels like he can't just sit on it, right? Like there's just too big of a chance that we get to the end of the game and he's never even cast it.
Right. But at the same time, does he want to just save that just to use it on the cheerleader for a kill?
Yeah, he would prefer, but like he's got 3 red cards in hand.
But he's on the back foot now just because he's been installed on lands here.
O sea, realmente aquí va a ganar que tenga más mesa y no quiere perder realmente la oportunidad, porque tiene demasiadas cosas que jugar en mano realmente y no quiere desaprovechar la oportunidad de ponerse el 2-2 y hacer manifest y tal. O sea, tiene sentido.
It was not a disaster for Marcio.
Right. Oh, that was a great draw.
What did he find?
He found a piggy bank, so now he can go piggy bank plus Trapped in the Screen. Just anytime you can double spell, just allows him to just continue building the board, whereas Seth, again, just stuck on 1 play per turn. All right, we're getting really aggressive here now for Marcio.
Marcio's ready to rumble. There's only a 1/1 back here for Manfield. He's at 13 life.
Ahí me la mesa está para Marcio seguro, o sea, ahora mismo bastante. Ya ha jugado la trape, le quedaría el piggy bank, que es el 3-2, lo va a jugar ahora y dará turno, supongo.
Basically, he's like, I hope you lose this game.
Sí, si trae un token y turno.
Seth is down to 8. 4 attackers
hay cartas en mano.
Seth just has 1 blocker.
Y hay que ver si es capaz Manfield de remontar la partida en realidad.
6, all of a sudden Tunnel of Hate is online.
And that's a major problem. Yeah, Harden Escort, I think it's just too late. Another missed land drop here from Manfield. This is the difference between 3 lands and 5 lands in a matchup like this. Like, Marcio's been able to deploy everything.
2 red. hand that feeds, and he's got Delirium.
Does he have Delirium as well?
He does.
Oh yeah, that should do it then, right? Like 2-turn clock, something like that?
Well, if you at least attack with the hand that feeds, it at least trades with the Hardened Escort.
Right.
Pero que este Carvalho tiene una ventaja 100%.
Yeah, you're right.
O sea, tiene que ser Manfield capaz de poner más mesa y tradear, empezar a tradear cuanto antes. Aquí pegando con la mano esa te llevas uno por delante. Básicamente un tradeo. Te llevas a los 3, entiendo.
Yeah, so that's not good. Unless he has other ways to push through damage, but he doesn't have them in his hand.
Marcio did just flip up the hand that feeds, which is pretty aggressive. It's just like, all right, I guess you're kind of, are you committed to attacking here? Oh, and Marcio
is going for the all-in attack. Wow, wow, wow.
It's like, hey, if you want to go for the double block here, you're gonna take 6.
Right, and you know, Seth can't play around anything, right? He has no options here, so Marcio knows exactly how Seth will block, because Seth can't get cute here.
Yeah, I feel like the 2-4 on the piggy bank makes a lot of sense.
Maximize how much damage you're preventing, take the biggest thing that you can.
¿Se puede permitir irse a 1? Ni de coña, ¿no? O sea, aquí tiene 2 blocks super limpios que sean al token y al manifest. Bloquea con el 2-3 al manifest y que también es verdad que tiene una carta en mano Marcio e irse a una vida como que no, entiendo.
Ah,
claro, es que no.
This is not fun either way.
Qué complicado, tío.
If he does do the normal blocks to prevent things as they stand, he
pues lo va a hacer, A 1. Es que es la forma que tiene de dar la vuelta a la mesa. Literalmente, claro. A 1.
Doesn't want to give the thing, but
sí,
now,
con eso,
look,
okay.
Still dealing with a
no tiene cartas en mano y ahora Manfield puede que sea capaz de remontarla, puede ser.
And he had a Betrayer's Bargain. He found a mountain. That was huge. Now he can go Gremlin plus Betrayer's Bargain. That is huge.
That is massive.
You can sack the Grand Entryway here.
Right.
To deal with whichever creature gets double strike, probably.
Right, and the way that this game has gone. Well, and it does require a land also from Carvalho here, right?
Right.
But the way that this game has gone, Marcio is like not going to be able to get cute here.
And now Marcio's
Surgical Suite and a quick check of the graveyard probably will signal to Seth that that's something that he may have found.
But Marcio needs, is he just attacking with?
Yes.
Yeah, because the thing is Seth has 3 cards in hand.
Right.
And he played a 2-drop when he should be playing more expensive cards.
Right.
You have to think he has something.
Definitely. It looks like it's just going to be the double block here.
Okay, and then I think Marcio probably just passes.
Yep, just
take
the
2-4. Because the 2-4 is just such a great blocker here. There's a lot less stress now because at least all the other creatures trade evenly at this point.
But there's less stress for Seth too, right? Like the menace creature got off the battlefield.
Well, he gets it back. He gets it back.
He didn't know that.
Oh, and look at this Ragged Playmate. Giving you an unblockable creature next turn, so Seth probably just has to use the bargain on the Playmate.
Hostias.
Because you can't
literalmente letal eso,
kill the thing that the Playmate targets, because then it's still sitting there for the next thing.
Right. Yeah. I guess if
you could really gamble if you want, but we're.
Right. Marcio's like, you want to kill my Playmate, right? Yeah.
Y el bargain ahí tiene sentido.
And Marcio just knew that was probably a Betrayer's Bargain. So.
This is such a sweet game.
9-1. Can Seth turn this around? Land irrelevant here. Seth can play a creature and then
yo no sé cómo va el rollo ese del encantamiento puerta. Ahora son las runas, el rollo. Tú juegas por una parte y luego puedes pagar el otro coste para jugar la otra. Y está súper emocionante esto, la verdad. Es que el rollo ha tenido un ataque bastante bueno Carvalho. Ataca con todo, básicamente, ¿vale? Y ahí la única forma en la que Manfield podía dar la vuelta a la partida era bloqueando a las otras dos. Eran buenos tradeos, eran tradeos limpios. O sea, no eran tradeos, eran bloqueos limpios. Y le daba 1. Y ha decidido irse a 1. Me parece brutal, la verdad. Otro blocker ahí, poco más. Pero es que Manfield tiene que aprovechar ahora que es que realmente no tiene mano con Carvalho e intentar darle la vuelta a la partida de cualquier forma. Aunque si toca cualquier cosa sí que se le escape un poco de control a Manfield, le gana.
No. Ticket booth. He keeps the plane, so there must be relevant 2-mana plays that he has in mind as well that maybe he could have ripped.
Maybe he just wants to find a 2-drop, keeps the land, find a 2-drop and just play it this turn.
find?
Qué guapa la puta partida, coño.
Didn't have one of those that I saw.
Manfield remontando a 1, ¿eh?
When I looked at the
Play
list.
the land,
Oh,
though.
this is sweet though.
Carvao Marcio.
We don't know either.
Right.
Se dice Frog Slumber, que es...
Oh, look at this draw.
Seized from slumber.
Seized from slumber.
Is that enough?
It's not, because that
Aquí.
still has 2 blockers.
Dice Destroy Target Tape Creature. Y te cuesta 3 menos. No, Destroy Target Creature, vale, te cuesta 3 menos y te target una criatura de tape, vale. Aquí puede... ¿Puedes jugarlo? O le interesa hacer lo de la room. ¿Te cargas al blocker gordo que te molesta y haces que trade como tú quieras? ¿O que bloquee como tú quieras realmente? No, es que le salen a perder. Es instant esto. Si es instant a turno, lo por culo, ¿no? En su turno lo tira y tal. Sí, es instant.
You make a 3/3 double block. You make a 4/3 on the piggy bank, double block.
And he has to be wondering, what the heck do you have in your hand, Seth? Because he discarded a spell and played a land for the turn.
He could perhaps.
Vale, usa la otra. Pega tal, contador ahí, un 4-3 y bueno, pues si muere te pones el Trisur, por así decirlo. Sí, te pones un Trisur, creo que es, ¿no? Sí.
That's right. If something weird happens, and then it also guarantees the
Un tesorito.
Right. Okay.
And you do get the clown off the battlefield this way.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Oh, so that's it's kind of a forced double block here.
Tú eres loco,
right?
vale.
And then I think Marcio is pretty interested in.
Se limpia una, sí, igual ahí, y te pones un tesoro y turno. Qué guapo, tío, el puto game. Y están a mano pelando los dos, ¿eh? Bueno, a ver, Carvalho tiene el mata, por así decirlo, pero te puede quitar uno de en medio. Depende cómo juegue aquí Manfield y tal, y lo que se espere. Tiene el fair, o sea, es como una especie de alien, ¿vale? El bicho ese, que es bastante bueno realmente. Ahí. Ya no tiene atacantes ninguno. Aquí perfectamente... Claro, ahí está. Y tirar con los dos y empieza a racearlo. Y mete un pollazo, ¿eh? Que eso tiene... Creo que era más 3/0 tiene el bicho ese, ¿no? Vamos a ver ahora. Aquí. Tiene... Bueno, yo controlo una criatura with power to your left, center. Más más hasta el final del turno.
Yes.
Okay. Does he have a haste creature? A percussionist?
Se quita de en medio.
No, he doesn't.
Vale, usa la otra.
Tunnel of hate and do nothing. He actually has a percussionist he's not playing.
It's in his sideboard. I'm really curious about that.
A raciar con lo que se puede. Me va a partir acá,
He has to have a reason.
He might be good in this
Qué locura.
matchup, though. He might have boarded it in.
That's true. This is game 2. Down to 5 goes.
Y para jugar el Fea, es que el Fea es el letal, pero creo que tiene también quitarle el artefacto ese por si vuelve, ¿no? No lo sé. Creo que es exila un bicho tuyo y un bicho suyo, creo que es.
It's lethal.
Y al drama, ¿eh? Qué locura. Bueno, un bicho. A ver. No, vale, pero vuela, vale. Vuela. Qué guapa, tío, puta partida. Como ha remontado Manfield a 1, tío. Qué locura, Dios.
That is incredible. What a game back and forth. And that's just pure mastery in play from both sides. Because oftentimes when you see a Boros mirror, you're just thinking, all right, I attack you, you attack me, let's see who dies. But both players playing around all the mana that they have up, all the different combat tricks, just thinking about every single possible out. And Seth eventually, because at different points
es que Turbine Saudade es bastante buen combat trick, ¿eh? De hecho, la primera se la ha robado Manfield, ¿eh? Tiene la partida Carvalho y hace Manfield, bueno, te pego con la... ¿Cómo era esto? Con el Manifest y con otro bicho. Deja que el Manifest entre, le da la vuelta, resulta que le pega, creo que la de 6 o así, le pega un pollazo y le da más 3/0 con el Turbine Saudade y lo mata. Y ahora como rollo, hostia puta. Vaya cogió, de ahí Carvalho cogió miedo, ¿eh? 100%, vaya. Pues acaban las rondas de Terra, ahora vienen las rondas guays, las de construido. Brutal.
This is Javier Dominguez versus Yoshihiko Ikawa. Javier,
vamos a ver el bueno de Domínguez.
And Ikawa, of course, a PG champ for this season. So let's get into the action.
What an incredible season it's been here for Javier Dominguez. Kind of almost a little bit slightly overshadowed by his teammate Simon Nielsen, who's just been absolutely crushing it for the past 2 years. But
no, no, coño, eso draft todavía, me cago en la puta. No,
here's the thing with Javier. It's like, yeah, 5-2 day 1.
Sí, es construido. No, digo es draft, perdón.
Oh, yeah, another top 8.
Like you do. All right, there's a Twitchy doll, but it's going to get taken out immediately.
Te he puesto en cámara rápido,
You can
¿verdad?
see we're playing perhaps a little bit quicker. That's also going to be... How many House Cartographer triggers are we going to see this weekend, Paul? It's more than I've ever seen.
Sí, como un repaso, por así
Maybe
decirlo.
I should start taking this card higher because we've seen a lot more triggers here. That's 2 triggers now.
Esta fue la última idea que hubo.
Oh, wow, I like
Javier's deck.
Yeah.
Entre Ikawa y Talai.
He's going to play his land and pass.
I like Ikawa's deck less. Yeah, I like his deck a lot less.
Another thing you don't see on the battlefield that often, that was get out to counter.
Se montó también una blue green ahí.
Man,
Una simi interesante.
With Twitchy doll.
Piala.
And now it's been a little bit of a
What is that? Is that Nico?
Nico, that's Nico.
Nico?
Light of Hope.
Wow, that
I have not seen that variant, but I've seen that card, and it is unreal.
Very, very strong.
2 shards and...
Por 4-3-4, cuando entra crea 2 shard token, que son como lo... Básicamente como una pista, pero puedes hacer scry antes. Y por 2, exila target no legendary creature you control, shard you control become copies of this, ¿no? Así, vale. Until the end of the next step. Aquí recoge Ikawa, pega un pollazo, bueno, pega una follada increíble. Joder con el Nico ese.
Wow, what a deck though from Javier.
That was really nice.
Simic deck splashing for Nico.
Supongo que ahora mismo están en el descanso entre el construido, o sea, entre el draft construido, vaya.
Yeah, there has to be. Javier Dominguez is 7-2 coming into this round. Yoshi Ikawa is 6-3.
Ooh, okay, there's some rares. Twitching down the graveyard, and that was an unstoppable.
Otra que la tierra esa, tío. La tierra esa realmente, como mucho te vale. No sé, no creo que sea tampoco muy allá, ¿no? Realmente la harán esa. Esa es la que el encantamiento, que... Es verdad que te da mana cualquier color, creo que es. Y si es por eso, mira. Puedo hablar con algún truco porque es un encantamiento. Dice... Hexproof, vale. Entra Tapet y eliges un color. Sí, te da mana de cualquier color. Del color elegido. Bueno. Vale, un slasher. Pica de ahí.
Wow, okay, now the heavy hitters are coming out for Ikawa.
Yeah. Okay, Meat Locker, keep... Now remember, that counts as a counter. So if Javier actually has a removal spell, it
vale, todo esto un counter, claro. Es que de que conecte el slasher, tío, le da una ventaja increíble a Ikawa. Bueno, y esta seguramente traga a Ikawa realmente. Está on the play y tal, empieza a meter mucha presión, ha curvado bien. En el 2 el lobo, en el 3 el slasher, en el 4 un coste 4. Quitarse muchas cosas en medio, ¿no? Ahora mismo. Revela eso, tal. Se quita el slasher directamente porque sabe que es un problema. Y por un azul. Vale, algún tipo de bloque o lo que sea, ¿no? Entiendo. Sí, devuelve la mano a la propia de esto, vale, poner todo esto un counter de nuevo y turno para Ikawa. Sí, Ikawa se quita el bloque, sigue metiendo presión porque es su rol ahora mismo, el rol agresivo, y da turno a Talai. Y bueno, curva más presión todavía, Dios. Por lo que esa tierra está enderezada. Vale, entonces es un counter donde al coste 4, ¿no? Espera, vale. Está pensando, a ver. Complicado, a ver. Pero si va con coste 2 y un coste 3. O sea, sabemos que los stun counter lo va a poner 100%, vaya. Se quita un atacante y ha dado por culo. Y luego va con coste 2. Ahí está. El 0-3 que da maná. Y bueno, 2 stun counter, ¿a dónde? Coste 4, entiendo. Bueno, el que más pega, básicamente. Es que es más peligroso ahora mismo. No, pues un bloque a las secas. Supongo que considera que ahora mismo puede realmente aguantar la partida así y quiere guardárselo de un counter para, bueno, pues otra amenaza. Que tiene sentido. Todavía ahí, bloquea a otro, tal, eso. Claro, putada, como la partida es pregrabada, pues no pone ni la mano, no enseña ni la mano que tiene cada uno, por desgracia, pero bueno. Entiendo que ya, ¿no? No estoy tocando. Está 3, ¿eh? Talai va 3. O sea, rollo, yo qué sé, necesita algún bloque, necesita algo, ¿no? Talai brutal, como rema, ¿eh? Mastodonte. Sí, pero esta partida es pregrabada ya, que es lo malo. O sea, por eso están yendo hiper rápido, tiene sentido. Pero me gustaría ver la mano de cada uno, hostias, que siempre mola. Pero nada, ahí está, los dos es un counter, lo pone supongo que más le conviene, ahí está, el coste 4 y para adelante. Tiene 2 blockers, puede aguantar la partida. Tiene más mano que Ikawa, por lo que puede remar, ok. O sea, si la partida dura más, realmente sí que le da la vuelta el propio Talai. E Ikawa ha seguido su rol, o sea, Ikawa ha seguido curvando en el 2-3-4 y quiere seguir metiendo presión y para adelante. Lan turno. Vamos a combate. Da tiempo a Talai a ver si se repone. Porque ahí es... No. Tío, ¿cuántos colores juega Talai en serio? Ahora también la montaña ahí he metido como pequeños splashes, entiendo. Porque supongo que le convenían los rare picks de meterlo y tal ahí, pero joder, increíble. Sí, de hecho tiene una run roja en la mano. No sé muy bien cuál es, pero tiene una run roja. Ahí está eso. Y... ¿qué es lo que hace, tío? Pero esto lo ha metido posible. O sea, que la da por meter aquí...
7 mana.
What does he have? Altanacre?
Valgavoss Onslaught?
O sea, sí, la da por meter una montaña.
Onslaught! Oh, that's how you come back!
There you go!
Oh my lord, this is fantastic!
Tío, no sé lo que hace porque no viene en el main deck, pero increíble.
Dominguez just playing the deck that Paul plays every day on Arena.
You gotta love
Look at this thing.
I'm assuming he has Delirium at this point too, right? You just manifested 4 times.
Yeah.
Or 3 times.
Sí, que considera suficientemente potente como para combatir el matchup y ha dicho, oye, pues va a entrar Decide.
You want to trade with the dog and give Ikawa a Surveil though. That's kind of what he's weighing out.
I think the answer is no.
Right.
Because Ikawa has bricked on his last 3 draw steps and make it 4. That's what you want him to do.
That's a bookworm.
Ikawa se está fludeando un montón.
Unless Ikawa has some kind of... Well, we saw it once already. Meat Hook Massacre number 2.
Right, that type of thing. A flyer.
Y aquí Talai con la mesa controlada ya va a empezar a tratar de limar vidas como puede ahora mismo. Iniciar tradeos y limar y para adelante.
So that's always a terrible sign here.
Only for 10.
Just 10. 2 turn clock.
And there's the bookworm.
Ha metido un pollazo, todo esto.
And the Nico.
Just everything.
Wow, so this needs to be like.
Qué locura.
What is that? An Insidious Fungus.
Ese es el 1-1, ¿no?
Flipped it up to draw the card off the bookworm.
Seriously, and he
Dios.
down the match. That's 8-2
Vaya remontada,
for
hermano.
Javier Dominguez.
That was a sweet
Dios, el Ikawa se ha ido con los ojos más cerrados todavía.
Really nice comeback too from Javier, who found himself at just 3
Pues
life and
8-2
scrambling to get his mana underneath him. But once he did, it all came falling apart there for Ikawa. So Javier Dominguez picks up the win. 2-0. That's our kind of deck right there. That's a good one to end on.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I want to draft every time.
Definitely.
You just take the centipedes and figure everything else out. That's exactly what Javier did. Blue-green base deck, Splash Nico, the Foyer, we don't know if it was in the main or the sideboard, but it is a black-green, you know, he was playing against a black-green deck, so probably boarded that in. That deck looked absolutely incredible. You are not going to beat that deck in the late game.
No, no way. And it's all about the Centipede. If you want to know how to draft this format, start with a Centipede and figure it out from there. That's going to do it for us in the booth. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be setting up Standard at the news desk. Don't go anywhere.
Pues nada, supongo que en un ratito comenzará el construido. He echado un ojillo y eso. Bastante guay por ahora, Catalay 8-2. Adrián 6-3. Creo que iba en total, eran 9 tal. No, tiene que jugar la última. Sí, 3-10, vale. O sea, Adri iría 6-3 y depende cómo quede esta. Y los demás ni idea. Creo que Tony iba 5-4 y tiene que jugar la última, claro, del draft, y los otros no lo sé, la verdad. Ahora que ahí lo pone. Marcus Wonder fue con el que jugó de Pratt, que dije 5-5 Tommy Ramis. Pepo 5-5. El 57 Ray Thanks. Seth Manfield primero, Vale, ahí está. Juego Javier Domínguez, detrás de Praz, lleno 7-3. Caibu de 7-3 también. Adrián Íñigo 6-4. Aunque creo que puede hacer top 8, ¿no? 10-4, no sé muy bien. No sé, sinceramente. Pues allá en 6-4 también. No está mal.
Be one of the first to experience Foundations at pre-release. Head to your local game store November 8th through the 14th to crack open some packs, build a deck, and try out all the exciting new cards before the set is released on November 15th. Hey everybody, welcome back to coverage of World Championship 30. We are live here in Las Vegas, Nevada, MagicCon Vegas. Also happening here this weekend, around 17,000 Magic players swarming the convention center. It's been very, very awesome to see. Somebody who is having a fantastic weekend is none other than Javier Dominguez, who's had an absolutely fantastic season as well. Can he make a top 8 here at the World Championship to top it all off? He talked to Cedric after his win last round.
Javier Dominguez coming off a huge win to be 3-0 in his draft pod. Javi, you've done it again. How did this draft go?
I mean, it went pretty well for me. I started with the Valgaboth's Onslaught card, which is one of the best rares in the set. So I ended up being green as well, so I didn't have to splash it. And I also got the Nico, which is a white.
También lo del Splash que le hemos metido luego, post-side y tal.
Sometimes things go well. My opponents also didn't have the best mana draws. One of those days.
Hey, a little luck never hurts. Now you're transitioning to Constructed with a deck that you're a little unsure about. Do you have to maybe get lucky there too, or maybe things just go as well as it did yesterday?
That's the thing, I don't really know, because it's like a brew we had this for this tournament, our team, and you're never sure when you're playing a brew if it's going to be good or not, so let's hope either it's good or I get lucky. I'll take either.
And look out if it's both. If it's lucky, and if you're lucky and it's good, oh my. He's getting himself into the thick of things in this Player of the Year race, but I think you said you'll be happy if you just top 8.
Yeah, top 8's good. Like, also, you know, if Simon ends winning it, I will be happy for him as well, because he had a great year. So I'm just having my eyes on the top 8, and then we'll see. Maybe the top 8.
We will see indeed. That's Javier Dominguez. Javi, good luck.
Thank you.
Javier Dominguez, your 2018 World Champ.
El
went 10th, 9th, and then top 8 of this season.
Up and comer.
Up and comer.
On his way.
Javier Dominguez. Yeah. Let's check out our leaderboard, everybody, as we get ready for the next round here at World Championship 30. Check
Tenemos en Manfield, seguido por Daniel Sentañita por ahí. Shotaya Soka el sexto, Javier Domínguez séptimo.
Marcio Carvalho leading the pack of the 8 and 2s. Simon Nielsen, your leader in this year's Player of the Year race, sitting at 8 and 2. Shota Yasuoka, the Hall of Famer, sitting at 8 and 2. Javier Dominguez, who we just heard from, sitting at 8 and 2. Jean-Emmanuel Duprat, by the way, our overnight leader, was undefeated at the start of the day, now dropping to 7 and 3, but of course not out of it. I want to also highlight Kai Buda there in 16th, sitting at 7 and 3. Aced his draft, was 4 and 3 coming into today, turning it into 7 and 3. The German juggernaut. You'll love to see it. All right, Cedric, you've got a roundup. Who won their pod out there?
Boy, we got some people that are very, very happy, because anytime you play in a tournament of this magnitude and you're able to 3-0 a pod, especially on the second day of competition, to get that crucial second day started, you are very happy about it. And first and foremost,
Debra perdió las 3, tío, de draft.
Guy. I'll tell you what, the Hall of Famer, the 2015 World Champion, another up-and-comer here in this tournament, Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor champion. He got the job done. He 3-0'd. He is 1 win away from making the top 8 of this tournament. My goodness, Seth. Next up, we're going to go to Ha-Fam, who took care of Eli Casillas in the final round. A very tough road for Ha to get through there, especially on the last opponent there in Ely, but able to get the job done. Thrilled with that 3-0. Next, we move on to one of Monty's favorites. He's giving me a look right now that people can't see. Shota Yasuoka. 2006 Player of the Year, among numerous other accomplishments. 3-0 through the pod. The master does it again. And then last but certainly not least, it is Javier Dominguez, who we spotlighted coming into this pod. He was 5-2 coming into the day. The players underneath him had a little bit worse records. Javier was the player with the worst breakers with 2 losses.
Sí, Javier Dominguez los brackets altos ahora mismo. Con el 8-2.
Through this pod, 8-2. Of course, you just saw the interview I did with him. He's starting to get that Javier magic going right now. That energy that we all love when we watch him play. It's coming. It's coming right now.
All right, excellent stuff. Thank you, Cedric. We're now going to have a check-in on our Player of the Year race. Let's take people back to the start of the tournament. How did things look when we came in here, Monty?
Well, Maria, we came in with 8 people really being in the race. Of course, Simon did lead the field with 57, Seth with 48 points, but there were 8 coming into the weekend: Jason Yi, Javier Dominguez, Sam Party, Ili Cassis, Sean Goddard, and Yuta Takahashi. And the most important thing, especially as we wind down today, that we know is if Simon makes this
Sam Manfield por ahora va literalmente a la cabeza, o sea, va 9-1 y creo que es el único que va 9-1 puede ser. Más un todo 8-2. A ver, puede que me equivoque.
So let's take a look at the records here.
Ahí está, sí, es el único. 9-1, Play of the Year Race. O sea, creo que era Nielsen iba cuarto, si no recuerdo mal, y luego había entre Nielsen y Manfield había 2 más.
If Simon makes top 8, it's a Simon and Seth battle for the ages, which I just want to see. I just want to see. And remember too, you know, Seth has been a bit of a thorn in the side of Simon. We can't forget about that too. Murders at Karlov Manor finals, Seth won that one. Yep. So it's always fun to watch 2 great players square off, especially when there's a little history between them too.
Absolutely. Well, we are done with the draft here for World Championship 30. We are now moving on to Standard, and Monty's got you covered with the metagame.
Well, we came into the weekend yesterday taking a look at this metagame.
Estándar metagame. Pero esto es de los que han pasado, ¿no? Los 57 de puede ser. O no, no. Son total, vale, vale. Ok. Sobre todo Gruul. Gruul, Vladimir Mid, Azorius Oculus y Azorius Tempo, básicamente. Domain, Temur Prowess, básicamente Gruul Prowess pero con azul. ¿No? No, es literalmente Temur Prowess, pero es súper diferente el mazo, vale. Dimir Demons, BG, Jeskai, Golgai Ram.
Who are we going to watch in our feature match area as we turn things over to Constructed? Let's take a peek. Oh, we've got a good one for you. It's a Hall of Fame battle.
Sam Manfield contra Sota Yasuoka.
Golgari Ramp versus Azorius Oculus. Let's get to meet the players. Seth Manfield, 12 top finishes to his name, 2015 World Champion, Hall of Famer, like I mentioned, 2-time Pro Tour winner, and if he wins this, he'll be in the top 8. Shota Yasuoka, also a Hall of Famer, your 2006 Player of the Year, also a 2-time Pro Tour champion. Remember, 10 is the magic number. So Seth here could lock up a top of spot 8 at, wait, how did I say that? Lock up a spot in the top 8 with a win here. Tell me about these decks though, Monty, they're very cool.
Okay, well, we're going to start by taking a look at Seth's deck. This is one of the 2 decks that Team Channel Fireball Ultimate Guard
Sam Manfield jugando BG.
Golgari Ramp, and Seth is actually the main advocate.
No, pero esto es BG Ramp, vale, esto es la RAM que se lleva antes, vale. Con eso, los Angles, un par de iras, la Virtu. Pero no es la BG normal, o sea, literalmente juega eso porque es que va perfectamente con el Overlord, el verde. Y un pillaje de Bog, hostias. Sí, la grisa, bueno. Todo lo que lleve verde negro pues la tienes que llevar, supongo. Que es la puta polla, el bicho ese. The Shoulder lleva un Harvester, Misery. Muy interesante, a ver. Y Shota Yasuoka está jugando la Azorius Tempo, vaya. Básicamente. Los 4 Dijin, 4 Oculus. Vamos con el mazo este, acá me comentaron de él. O sea, literalmente es como la V porque es capaz de tirarte al Grave, rollo te tiras el Dijin o te tiras el Oculus y en turno 2 lo revive con la Helping Hand. O con el otro, con el reanimar ese. O sea, me parece muy guay. El Founding. Creo que es buenísima la carta esta. Y puede entrar porque tú quieras, o sea, literalmente puedes hacer la última directamente y te sale de los cojones. Y hay un par de cortas, que está bien también.
Undefeated in Standard.
Ooh, nice, nice, nice. All right, everyone, round number 11 is on the way. Who's going to take it down? I'm going to send it on over to Alien Corey in the booth with the call.
we're going to take down Maria, of course. Is there any doubt?
No
Corey
doubt.
Baumeister alongside myself, Ailey. How are you? Hi. Welcome, friends, to Constructed Standard. No more drop from here on out, friendos. We have a few rounds of Constructed today, and then tomorrow, the top 8, it is all Constructed. So for any draft lovers, sorry. We'll just have to play some more Dustborn cards in these decks, yeah, Corey?
Dustborn draft was amazing, though. I must say, what a great limited format. But now it's time for winning in Magic, pretty much from here on out. I cannot wait for that.
Let's go, Seth Manfield. An absolute powerhouse in Magic the Gathering is at 9-1 up against another player who you have to think is just like one excellent run away from being a world champion as well. At 8-2, Shota Yasuoka, 2 Hall of Famers. They've basically done it all between them, so let's see who comes out on top in this matchup. Golgari Ram versus Azorius Oculus.
Yeah, 2 absolute masters and 2 innovative takes on these kind of established decks that we've seen before. There's just some extra spice in both of their decks that would, you know, give them an advantage.
Directamente Surveillant, la dejan
the third path from Shota being the new spice, and then the take on Overlord and Up the Beanstalk from Seth being kind of the spice from this Golgari version.
Who doesn't love drawing many cards on turn 3 with that Beanstalk Overlord of the Hauntwoods combo?
Yeah, absolutely. Really slow start here from Seth. He would have loved to have Up the Beanstalk there to be able to get that card advantage going, even if
se puede curvar realmente Manfield. Es que no sé, creo que lleva muy pocos cortas, ¿no? La Azorius Tempo. No sé, puede que le convenga, ¿no? El tema de curvar aquí la Glissa.
Phantom Interference, Soul Partition, a couple ways to keep this Golgari deck.
Y un Overlord en mano también.
Yeah, and if we had Up the Beanstalk, jamming the impending from the Overlord here would be great. You get to draw a card. If it gets countered, who cares? But as it stands, game 1 without a bunch of duresses, you're gonna see just basically anything that Shota can't deal with is gonna get countered. So we might see this Soul Partitioned or just countered here, deciding what. Depending on what Shota would like to do.
Glissa Sunslayer, really one of the most powerful cards in Golgari. Has been looking for a home desperately, and starting to wonder if Golgari is looking pretty darn good, because the other Golgari iterations at the tournament this weekend have, I believe it was a 6-0 record against the Oculus deck, and nothing on the end step there.
Yeah, and didn't counter this. That was extremely interesting here. As that's a card you really got to deal with. I mean, is that just saying that Shota is going to take a hit from Glissa here? Would be
maybe.
I mean, you have the Soul Partition to be able to just exile it, make it cost a little
bit more.
It, but not using his mana there, not necessarily ideal.
Maybe worried about a little more threatening threats than the Zombie Elf with First Strike, Death Touch, and a whole bunch of text on it.
That's about as threatening as it gets, really. And overall, this Golgari deck, you know, we were talking in the intro that this Azorius Oculus deck had a great win rate. It did. It absolutely crushed. This Shota Ely played this version and just kind of dominated. The Golgari Ramp deck, on the other hand, didn't exactly have the best weekend there. A lot worse of stats.
Yeah, Golgari mid-range without the Beanstalk Overlord package. Having a bit of a better time, but we're going to take a look in hand here. With Duress is Seth Manfield, so let's see how Shota wants to respond to this.
Yeah, and can't counter it with the Phantom Interference. It just has 3
Tiene Soul Partition, en verdad. Puede permitir.
We'll more than likely see
que la Shota
just show the hand and then
Shota Soul Partition, pero
tiene 3. A lot of partitioning happening over there.
Yeah, Shota playing the full 4 copies of that card, really innovative in his list, and just an incredibly powerful removal spell. Especially every time I look at a removal spell like this, or just a removal spell in the format, I'm always thinking of Gruul Prowess in mind, because that's the deck that all these players were coming prepared to beat, or at least try to.
Yeah.
And this is a great one. Just being able to exile whatever creature they have from the Gruul side. And get around some of the pump spells is exactly what you
need. Yo creo que partition aquí, ¿no? O sea, si consigues realmente que lo o sea, que Yasuoka no haga nada, o sea, no haga nada. Me explico, aquí le puedes quitar el funding, ¿no? Creo que sea la mejor carta.
I suppose that gives Shota more options as to how he wants to deal with this Glissa.
And surveil, which is really
tarde o temprano, si la partida se estaquea, bueno, vas a conseguir, ahí está. Vas a conseguir castear de nuevo las amenazas, aunque te hagan Soul Partition a la Glissa y tal. Tarde o temprano la volverá a castear.
And for anyone who doesn't know a lot about Shota, well, you must be living under a rock for a while, as he is one of the GOATs. But he likes to test by himself. Yeah, so kind of finds all this tech by himself. And it's been the case in the past, too, that he just really theory crafts a lot more.
¿Qué es lo que hace esto, tío? Lo que le ha tirado. Es el Phantom. Buenísimo, ¿no?
I gotta play the games to know what's going on.
No. El Into the Flood puede ser.
One of the most favorite pastimes of Magic, that's for sure.
¿Coño la ha tirado?
Like, ooh, what about this? What about that? What about this card? Nope. Shota says no, thank you. Get that out of here. So no.
Esferas dispersas.
No everywhere land.
Cuesta 2 menos y es criatura atacante. Vale, le devuelve la mano y hace Surveil 2. Oye, pues no es mala. Joder.
Shota really got punished by not casting Founding the Third Pass straight away on turn 2. He didn't have anything great to go with it. You know, you didn't have anything to cast from hand, so it makes sense why you don't want
y se queda con 3 Soul Partition en mano.
Exactly, yeah, he could have read ahead to just mill and then hopefully find the helping hand and stuff, but as it stands, just 3 removal spells. Oof.
Hey.
Great draw.
Bueno. A ver, va a ponerte un token de Manifest, sí o sí. Tienes para quitártelo, pero el token de Manifest te cae.
This is going to be rough if Seth doesn't have an answer for this guy quickly.
And Seth does have 3 answers for it, and we are probably going to see one of the better answers here as we have the cover up. Plus, you can collect evidence to make sure that this is out of the graveyard. A huge play, and this is just a 1 of or 2 of in these lists. Looks like Seth decided to play 2. And this deadly cover up is looking excellent.
Mírale todos los Oculus, hostia puta. Y llevan uno por, ¿no? Creo que lleva. No, que lleva 2 copias.
I understood what you meant. Jeez. Alrighty, so 4 eyeballs taken for whatever soup Seth Manfield.
Sí, 2 copias. Lleva 3 tiras, tío, de mí.
Locura. In the Duskmourn setting. So this is gonna put a big roadblock in the way now for Shota. You know, a lot of the power comes from this powerful 3-drop.
Yeah. This is really what turned this deck into a kind of niche playable tier 2 strategy to really being amazing, because these decks existed before. It was just Hwari Jin, a bunch of counter spells, and it was okay, but you needed a second threat, and Oculus is just a better card than Hwari Jin sometimes. And
vale, va a empezar aquí a limar con la Madland.
Got the Restless Cottage getting in for some damage, making some food tokens there.
Que es la única que no se come la Soul Partition, de hecho.
There have been previous iterations of the deck, some playing the Crab, others playing the Tolarian Terror, which can come down for 1.
Qué duro, tío.
Depending on how many instants and sorceries.
Y de 4 todos los turnos.
One thing I do love about players of this caliber with this much experience.
No para de robar tierra, El puto Yashoka, madre mía. Ah, va a raciar con la tierra, 100%, vaya.
Oh, that, yeah, I was casting that one, I think.
Were you? Okay, probably not for long.
Seguimos.
Very much not. But they were both playing control matchups, so it's just like boom, 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 boom.
El Pinhang no vale para nada, está 8 por ahora. ¿Ha robado algo? No vengo through. Cantrips, ¿no? Sí. Una a la mano, otra al Grave y otra al Bodo, ¿no? Sí. ¿Qué otro momento through? Porque realmente la saca ahora mismo no le vale, el Founding. Necesita un propio sitio. El Digim puede estar bien, no, lo manda al Grave y la tierra al bottom. El Pinham, vale, ok, Tappet, pero bueno, a ver, es un block, literalmente. Bueno, tiene para quitárselo de en medio. Manfield. Este match tiene que ser horrible, ¿no? Para Azorius y tal. O sea, que entre la ira esa tienes tan pocas amenazas y coño, como te hagan eso, tío, te quedas vendido, ¿eh? Es que es como súper fácil para Manfield realmente quitarse las amenazas de Ashoka de en medio, ¿eh? Tiene que ser un pairing horrible. Se hace el mismo, claro, para luego rejugarlo, tiene sentido.
So Shota is in bad ways, nonetheless.
O sea, paga un maná. Solamente.
No
sé por qué ha pagado solamente un maná.
He's got more food, so he's gaining a ton of life.
He's got a buffet there. Yeah, just get one of those tokens out of there. Make that one go bye-bye. There we go. There we go. We got there.
And now the best case scenario is Shota being able to play the Jhin and just block.
Yeah.
You know, and just trade for this, but we know that there's a good amount of removal spells.
Yeah, Night of Affliction can take care of that. Cut down won't be able to. I believe it's big enough.
¿Por qué paga un mana solamente para jugar el Partition? Porque realmente ha sido eso, ¿no? Han sido 2 manas para jugar. Claro, a ver.
Soul Partition doing a nice kind of double duty job here.
That's pretty sweet. Response. We're going to see Anoint with Affliction.
That
should just do it, to be honest. As there's no counter spell or anything, and if he were to just Soul Partition his own Jhin, it just saves it once again.
Yeah.
But then the creature will just get it done. Chart, of course, there, discarding a land. There's another Quadi Jhin, but no mana to cast it, so this should be game 1. Going to Seth Manfield, and Seth's going to be 1 game away
from another top 8.
Locking up another top 8, yeah.
Good grief. You know, when the best players in Magic are having a good run, they're having a really good run.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember talking to Seth, you know, well before he
quiero saber por qué ha pagado un mana antes Yashoka solamente para tirar el Soul Partition, porque vale 2. O sea, me estaré equivocando algo, seguramente.
And he was, you know, a little taken back with Magic. He wasn't necessarily putting everything into it like he had in the past.
Mira, 5.
Believe it or not, it rejuvenates.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would imagine, of course, I would not know, but.
Yeah, you know, because like.
Y vea, Monastery Mentor, vale, o sea, literalmente el play de Ashoka es que el Monastery Mentor le puede dar la partida. 2 Helping Hand y el Monastery Mentor, en cuanto entre el Monastery Mentor, va a intentar castear non criatura y va a intentar ganar la partida de esa forma, vale, vale.
One of these spells, one of the duplicates in hand here for Shota, Helping Hand in the bin.
Yeah, and just another threat here makes a lot of sense from Shota, just with those deadly cover-ups, being able to take care of 4 out of your 8 threats. You really need something else, so he has 3 Monastery Mentors in the board to just kind of hedge against that a little bit.
We do have a Knock with Affliction. Go for the throat to take care
of
the
Affliction es mejor, claro. Fuera y ya está.
No
tiene más lands, pero es que lo más seguro es que esta se la lleve... Sí, la ceradita. Se la lleve Manfield, lo más seguro, a ver.
You'll get some.
No creo que sea complicado pinche una tierra, no sé.
Okay. Nice.
Hostia puta, espérate.
Very nice.
Go for the throw, le pone un token ahí. Si no pincha adelante, tiene una decisión súper difícil Manfield, que sería seguir intentar avanzando para encontrar a Adam. No, es que tiene que tirar el Go for the throw 100%, Aquí hay Go for the throw al Oculus 100%, vaya. Claro, si hubiera hecho el Landrop, oye, pero no. Tiene la opción de hacer Beastol para ver si encuentra a Adam y pegar el Landrop de turno, que está bien, pero no, aquí creo que 100% es quitarte el Oculus, tío. Pero que es que cuanto más tiempo tengas, más fácil es que consigas remontar la partida realmente. Tiene una mano increíble. Y decía, yo, Go for the throw al Oculus y para adelante está. Que es la jugada más segura.
Sure.
GG. You see Seth kind of scowling like, oh, how am I going to lose this game when Shota mulled to 5?
This is how. This is very much how. When you turn your graveyard into another hand, essentially.
If Shota would have found another helping hand or the other way to reanimate, the recommission, then I think this game would just be over. Or if that's an Oculus there under the Manifest, as it stands, we can still definitely play some Magic. Seth needed this reprieve.
No, Beanstalking. Land?
Sigue sin land. Ah, sí, vale, voy a pegar el land.
Okay, alright. It's alright. No one panic.
He's got all 4 of the up the Beanstalks here.
The first Overlord he casts with those down. This is going to be...
Cuando juegue el Overlord va a robar 2 cartas, sí. Qué barbaridad.
Here's the chart to draw some more cards, and there is
Pago el Monastery. No, el Oculus, hostia.
And this is bad news bears here for Seth. I think Seth's best chance in his mind is to get to 5 mana and cast the Deadly Cover-Up to protect it. As we know, with that Phantom Interference, it doesn't work out too well.
This is looking pretty bad here for Seth Manfield.
La ira la tiene en mano, lo que no tienes mana para jugarla. Pues a tirar el Overlord, tío, puede que no sea... No, es que le va a meter un pollazo,
Stressor.
Que pega de 10, tío, se va a 5, Y de que no resuelva el Deadly Cover-Up nos quedamos aquí, literalmente.
Not terrible. Not terrible as it does deal with the one threat, but he's still pretty far behind. He might just be forced into doing this.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Pues la juega un montón. Robados, que está bien. O sea, el Landru lo va a meter casi seguro. Casi seguro, ¿vale? Ahí es. No. No pilla tierra. No pilla tierra. Pues se va a dar la partida.
He found a duress, which was great. If he found duress and land, he could duress away that counter spell and then deadly cover up next turn.
Tía, Shoka tiene corta.
The best he's got is deadly covering up next turn into this counter spell, and we might be all done.
It's looking pretty rough here for Seth. Has to discard.
¿Qué tal Nilo, Jep? A ver. Me saqué un 5-0 con los pixels que me vendiste. Tío, es que estaban bendecidos, vamos a ver. El letal esto. Pegando de 3, sale, pega. 3 y 5, 8, 1, 9, 11. Flipante. 12, tiene que ser. Sí, 12. Vale, pega de 4 el Digim. La ira al corta, adiós. Vale. Uy, madre mía.
Oh,
o sea, literalmente aquí la partida habría sido para Manfield, de no ser, o sea, rollo por las lands, Voy a 6, por parte de Yashoka. Pero sí, parece un deck en cuanto pilla realmente las lands, bueno, pues va que ni pintado y para adelante. Está, roba. Otra de las lands, tío, de los cojones. Está guapo, tío, la verdad. Yo sé que, lo dicho, no esperaba que hubiera mucha gente realmente enganchada por mí porque va a estar más gente emitiendo, pero yo lo estoy viendo y quien se quiera pasar, pues que se pase, en verdad. Tío, y está muy guapo, Me han entrado ganas de jugar estándar, fíjate. Complicado, pero lo han conseguido. El funding ahí, brutal. O sea, literalmente en el anterior, yo estoy en que la RAM le puede ganar ese mazo perfectamente. O sea, es un buen pay-in, ¿ok? Realmente, pero tienes que desarrollar tu mana, ¿ok? Tienes que desarrollar tu mesa y tal. Y antes se quedaba pillado, aprovechado Yashoka eso. Le ha metido el Oculus y tal, le empezó a meter presión. Y tenía el corta en mano. Y en cuanto le cayó la ira, pues la corta de tomar por culo. Turno. Y es el mismo problema, literalmente. Se queda en tape porque... Vale, sí, el turno 3 supongo que es vital. Quieres el Gofro de Troll enderezado. Por si quieres cortarle aquí la presión. Sí, le matas el Mentor y tal. Pero no. No tiene pinta de que Yashoka vaya a caer en eso. Founding. Yo tengo a Antonio comiéndome la oreja de que juegue la guay, porque ya tengo los ojos. No sé si la jugaré, parece un mazaco, literalmente el que está jugando Yashoka. Yo jugaré al 90% VG, tío. No sé si esta, la RAM o la normal, pero jugaré... Seguramente juegue VG. ¿Qué va a jugar Antonio? Si lo sabéis y tal. Bueno, la White Tempo es la polla.
This deck just looks at so many more cards than probably any other deck in the field at the moment. 2 fairies on an adventure, 2 finding the third paths.
Sí, es buen deck. La Temur Prowess, ¿no? O sea, que lo ponen como Temur Prowess. No tengo idea, o sea, creo que juega con el Storm Chaser Talent, me ha dicho, pero que tampoco tengo mucha idea de qué cojones, ¿sabes?
And it's such a powerful, versatile card. Being able to exile an instant or sorcery on the third chapter and copying it too. So if you have 2 targets in the graveyard, you
can Dures y controla un poquito la mano. Le va a quitar el Es que tiene... Ah, no, son 4 cartas, coño, ¿por qué pone 3 al lado? Tiene también Negate aquí. O sea, el Shatter Curse, el Moment of Truth o el... Es un Shatter Curse, ¿no? No me equivoco. El Negate, directamente. Tengo que quitar el corta, vale, para verle la mesa. Pero ahora sale Foundation y entra el Janowar. Igual cambia todo, sí, seguramente. Realmente hay cartas un poco... Sí, también entra... ¿Cómo se llama el artefacto este por 4, tío? Vale 4 maná, por 4 en 2-2, te buscas LAN y cuando muere roba. O sea que en estándar es bueno, en otro formato es una puta mierda, pero en estándar sí que es bueno, la verdad.
You know, that it makes a lot of sense that you got to bring in some other threats, but when Monastery Mentor goes off, it really goes off.
Tiene buena pinta, o sea, me gusta que se quede este meta, tío. El Sonic Simulacron, exacto. Este meta me mola mucho, tío, me mola bastante.
He has had answers for it each time, and with Affliction being in hand there, you know, go for the throat, deadly cover up, a little more expensive, so we won't see that.
Y la ira de Dios, hostia, brutal, en estándar, Los reprints, cuidado. Parece un buen meta para jugar con Vogue. Lo que pasa es que con Vogue un poco lo que tiene lo típico. Si la gente no está llevando muchas iras, pues de puta madre. Pero si empiezan a coscarse y empiezan a llevar iras, se acaba la fiesta. Tienes que ir a un torneo del estilo y llevar solamente tú con Vogue y sin que nadie lo espere, ¿sabes? Que creo que aquí un brasileño lo ha hecho, lleva Jeskai con Vogue. Que está guay, en verdad. Creo que está preguntando si puede hacer target después de dequear con la Foundation que está 1.
So 2 separate instances.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
But mainly you have to target before you mill. That's the big part. So it looks like that screams to me. It's a little hard to see everything in the yard, but it doesn't look like there's a great target to cast for the free spell right now. So Shota's like, can I have more looks at something good, please?
Extra options, please. I mean, yeah, it's a valid question to ask because, you know, at any other
¿Qué está pensando? Es un poco de siempre, o sea, literalmente la mano de BG aplastar de wide, pero 100%. ¿Qué le ocurre? Que tienes que llegar al coste 5 por ahí, ok, más o menos al mid de la partida. Tienes que hacerla entre los turnos para poder llegar a tiempo. Si no, bueno, pues te pasa lo de antes, te acabas rafeando la Azorius a tomar por culo. Pero no es lo normal, yo creo que lo he dicho, que la BG le pega una paliza a la Azorius, 100%, en serio. Tío, es demasiado value, tío. Tú ves la mano de Yashoka y ves la mano de Manfred y dices, joder, es que como te llega a desarrollar el mana y jugar simplemente las cartas de la mano, nada más. Como te llega a jugar la mano, pierdes, literalmente. Demasiado value, tío. Tiene una Sheoldred, tiene ahí para quitarse presión de medio, tiene un fuerte throwado, ¿ok? Tiene, sí, es que tiene demasiado, creo yo. Bueno, Truth. Así la vemos otra vez la mano de Manfield. Tiene el Overlord, tiene el Pillage, que también es mucha info. Tiene un par de matas que son realmente efectivos aquí. Sobre todo la Anointing Affliction es buenísimo, tío. Claro, supongo que lo juegan ahora porque exilia contra Unstoppable. El Terrasander... Terrasander, la verdad que es bueno, pero joder. Tiene que pagar 4, tío, para que exilien un Norland Permanent, me cago en la puta. ¿Va a jugarlo?
And has to make another tough decision. Do I start playing something into a probable counter spell?
Aquí lo que quiere Manfield es pillar a LAN, es que 100% vaya. Necesita pillar la puta LAN como sea. Porque entonces, es que de esa forma es como le gana.
Yeah, and the big story of the game that Seth won was he was able to get a lot of mana down, he was able to deal with all the threats Shota presented, and was able to present a clock. Although it was not extremely fast, 5-turn clock with the 4-4 over and over again, it was still a clock. Given enough time, Shota will assemble some turn where he can
ahí está la piedra, tiene sentido, a ver. Por lo que sea, le interesaba.
Or just find a counter spell for the first removal spell and kind of slow down Seth.
El Delico Velar yo creo que no va a ser necesario que lo use, porque quizá... ahí pilla un corta.
a spell. We're going to see a very, very wide board here.
Yo creo que en cuanto clave la Sheoldred es partida, básicamente. Pero tiene que conseguir clavarla. Que saca el corta. Terrasunder. En la vale.
The nice play to make sure that he doesn't get that free helping hand from the yard. But now Seth is tapped out, so Shota has the ability to cast one of these threats and kind of back it up a little bit. Has the Monastery Mentor, but doesn't have the 5th land to back it up.
That would have been ideal here for Shota.
Yeah.
Do you even risk it now, or do you just, you know, I mean, Shota's got to feel pretty good right at this moment because he's doing more things. He, okay, sure, only has access to the same amount of land, but he sees plenty more cards than Seth is going to.
Definitely. I think you start with the Free the Fae and try to find a helping hand, but I could also see him doing this and then casting Free the Fae at end step and just kind of doing this small stuff to make Seth deal with that. He's also setting up
Underground Mortuario, pilla la quinta lan.
Block Prankster because Seth is not going to want to kill that creature. And then
Tape, pero la ha pillado. A gastear cosas realmente. Tiene ya bastante value en mano.
Certainly not a prime removal target, that's for sure.
20 turn clock.
Overlord.
Alrighty.
Roba.
Lord of the
Sí, lo corta, tiene sentido, pero que da igual.
Going to get a card, but not going to resolve, courtesy of Phantom Interference. But we did find 2 lands now off the top of the library, Blooming Marsh and Underground Mortuary, both entered tapped, so that's
Phantom Interference. Voy a hacerme un café mientras.
Yeah, would have been great if Seth could have found untapped 5th land there to resolve that Overlord. The Overlord, you know, not amazing against Shota, as by the time it comes down, you know, ideally from Shota's perspective, he's going to win the game already. But here is the drawing 2 cards off Chart, of course.
Oh, no, did we attack already?
You already attacked, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you blink and you miss it from Shota.
Sure did.
There is Helping Hand and another threat, though, so now it can just start to be, Shota has so many threats that he can just start deploying them and just working his way through the removal spells. But he does have to be very wary of that deadly cover-up play where Seth can get rid of all the Oculus.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, though, you know, having multiple threats, it won't be too much of a downside to lose all the Oculi or all the, you know, all the fairies or all the monastery mentors.
Yeah.
But it does also give Seth a look at the deck to see what it is he needs to be worried about.
And a look at the hand, most importantly, how to exactly play around Shota's threats. Deadly Cover-Up is just so good at, of course, being a Wrath, of course, getting rid of the card, but giving you full information of how your opponent sideboarded, plus full information of their hand so you can play around it is very, very big game. Such a great card. From, I would say, Seth's probable favorite set here in recent years.
I would imagine he's quite pleased with that set as a whole.
With winning that Pro Tour, for sure. Okay, now we'll see if Seth wants to do this. Shota was basically saying, all right, I put 2 really bad creatures on, so if you want to cast your best card of Deadly Cover-Up, well, you're not getting anything great on the battlefield. And we'll see, I believe there is a Huadijin and an Oculus in the yard, so if Seth were to pick the Huadijin, he'd get that card from Shota's hand as well.
We have enough to collect evidence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 1 more in the yard to collect evidence.
Oh,
hey, Shelly.
No, you could collect the evidence there for sure. With the Yep. But Shelly is like exactly kind of what Shota wanted to see. Play a big threat that didn't draw you a card. He has Soul Partition to be able to neutralize it a bit. And now could be the big turn where we get a threat in play and we back it up with a counterspell. That's kind of the sweet spot from this Azorius Oculus deck.
Who wins? 2 1/3s or a 4/5 Praetor? Stay tuned to find out. First things first, we're going to help out one of these critters in the bin. Looks like we're going to get an Oculus back, perhaps?
Oculus or Monastery Mentor are the 2 choices.
Oh, Mentor could be fun. What else is in hand for him? Okay.
So with Shota just having 3 islands as well, doesn't have the ability to Soul Partition until next turn, but that's okay. Take 4 from the Shieldred, take 2 from the draw step. Use your life as a resource here. And you're completely fine with it.
Seth Manfield gonna make the Fairy's job a little tougher, but there will be the Manifest on the upkeep here. If this Oculus survives, it'll be ideal for Shota. Cruel Claws, Heist, Blot Out, Deadly Cover-Up, Go for the Throat, Anoint with Affliction. So just black spells aplenty in hand here for Seth.
Yeah, Seth has a great hand. And right now, Shota does not have a counter spell at all. Can still free the Fae number 4. But, yeah, can't really back it up at all, even if he finds a negate or anything like that.
Yeah, no Spell Pierce in the format, so couldn't even free the Fae into that. Exactly. Something like it.
So Seth can kind of do whatever he wants. He might start with the Heist here just to see if the avenue is open, and then go for the Throat or Anoint Affliction to deal with the Oculus.
No gift for you.
Makes sense. You know, when you're playing up against like the Mirror Match or Dimir Midrange, those kind of things where you have pretty good cards you can take, that's great. Otherwise, this is just 2-mana Super Duress where you can take creatures as well.
It's Thoughtseize without the ouch.
There you go. Yeah.
What do you take if you're Seth, huh?
Interesting
with
to
perfect
me,
information.
Yeah, interesting that we didn't cast Free the Fae at all. I guess if you just Free the Fae, then Seth has perfect information and can just take that card if it's the best.
Yeah.
But Seth can stop Shota from using his mana this turn by taking Free the Fae if he wanted. Not a great hand from Shota, to be honest.
No. I would ideally like another white source to be able to multi-spell.
Yeah, if Shota had another white source and could have just went Monastery Mentor plus Helping Hand, that would have been great. Now that would have ran a bit of a foul into the Deadly Cover-Up, but still.
Alrighty, well, goes for your suggestion there, friend. Getting rid of the Picklock Prankster, so that will hit the yard, and I believe that's all of them out now. Yep, all 4 Pranksters, so no more pranks.
Nope, no more pick and locks. And now that was a bit of a cost for not casting the Charter Course as well, but holding up mana seems to be a little bit more important.
So Blot Out would deal with the 5/5.
Yep. And so will either the Go for the Throat or the Anoint. So looks like Seth is stopping Shota on the upkeep. This does give him the option to Soul Partition away whatever threat he goes for, but I think Seth is fine with that. I'd be like, if you want to waste that removal spell on this.
Voy por el throw al ojo, tiene sentido. Tiene el de Game Pass que me tiene impresión. Sí, porque las haditas mucho lo van a hacer, la verdad.
Negate off the top is pretty big game.
As it stands right now, these little creatures are doing their best, but Sheoldred is just gaining so much life.
15-12. La Sheoldred va a rimar el game 100%, vaya. Puedes hacerle solo partition lo que tú quieras, pero que es que la Sheoldred tío es demasiado. Y tiene solamente un blanco. Soul partition directamente ahí.
Sheoldred getting it off the battlefield is too important here.
So costing 2 extra now.
Y por 2 ya atacó.
And now doing this so that Charter Course doesn't deal 4 to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be painful indeed. So extra cards in hand now.
Piensa racearlo, ¿eh? O sea, Yashoka, rollo, piensa racearlo literalmente. Le obliga a este turno a pagar 6. Le ha dejado libre la ira, sí que es cierto. Que bueno, está bien, supongo.
Yeah, great hand, really developed.
La Glissa también está bastante bien ahora mismo.
Just a very close game here.
Y turno.
It feels like the momentum is definitely shifting back to Shota here.
Yeah, Seth has so many things to do in hand, but Shota is just outvaluing him in terms of what he's got on board, what he's got in hand. Just look at the difference there.
So drew an Oculus as well. Now, from basically every turn from here on out, Shota's going to be playing a threat. He's just threat flooded, so it's just exactly how he wants to do this. Still would just love a second white source. That would be so huge.
Oh, that just unlocks his hand entirely.
Exactly. And remember that Sheoldred can be cast at a little bit higher rate.
Yeah.
So Seth did make a conscious decision to not cast it this last turn. Instead, played Glissa.
Glissa would still be a pretty good attacker. A little extra card draw at the cost of some life, though, so let's be careful with using his life.
Yeah, tough spot here from Shota.
Había un Oculus,
Tiene
una Helping Hand que puede mismo revivir, porque se puede caer en tape si que con el negate, ¿vale? Y creo que en el Grave también tiene otro Oculus, si no recuerdo mal. Juega pelo de la mano. Pero creo que tenía alguno. Puede ser que no. Las 6 lands.
Actions to be taken. Oculus back down on the board. Do not want to get to an upkeep with that, so we're going to see the blood out.
Okay. And now this turn, now Seth knows that this Shieldred couldn't be countered for the 1 mana, so it would be pretty hard to not want to just jam that.
Yeah. Glissa gets blocked by the Manifest creature.
Yep.
Shieldred back on the board. Dealing more damage to Shota. He is down to 10. Seth at 11. These little fairies are doing their best, man.
Yeah, hey, they've done
an excellent job.
Solid work.
Here comes the big guy.
Huge turn here. Huarijin plus getting rid of Shieldred for good. Now, Seth, I believe, doesn't... Oh, yeah, he still has the Anoint, so he can Anoint the Huarijin.
Yep.
Plus then has a bunch of hand disruption. What an incredible game.
This has been awesome. Like, here's a contender for a match of the day.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Kind of 2 beatings the first 2 games, but this 3rd game, very, very close.
Much more back and forth.
Se va el negate 100% o la Helping Hand realmente.
The Helping Hand there too, as well as the negate.
Now Seth can also anoint the Huarijin, and basically has to.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is going to be gigantic. We don't have a perfect view of the graveyard, of course.
Oh, I mean, the graveyard's almost as big as his
I'm gonna say
library.
It's lethal.
Yeah.
We're just gonna guess it's gonna be lethal.
Look at the size of the shadows there. That's a large graveyard. All right, yeah.
El Moment of Truth.
Seth gets to essentially pick 2 of these cards because he's gonna bat.
Okay. Ah, Helping Hand, okay. Se lo piensa mejor, tiene sentido. Y ahora puede hacer el Deadly Cover Up, pero tampoco creo que sea como muy importante. Está el murciélago. Ponle un blocker. Supongo que le quitará aquí el Monastery. ¿Tiene sentido? Se puede quitar del medio el Digim. Se quita la presión del medio y le exilia el Monastery. Coño, es que está de puta madre. El Moment of Truth tiene que encontrarte algo y el negate lo tienes muerto en mano porque ya te está raceando él. O sea, no tienes otra cosa realmente. O sea, me parece la mejor opción, ¿no? El Monastery, ¿no? O el Moment. El Moment of Truth. O sea, quiere sacarle provecho a la ira, entonces. Quiere hacer el Digim. O sea, yo creo que el Monastery como que te molestaba más, ¿no? En el sentido de que, vale, que puedes limpiar la mesa, pero entonces devuelves el Moment of Truth realmente.
Yeah, yeah.
And just keep swinging with Glissa. I mean, eventually that mentor's going to have to block.
True. But any spell Shota draws that's a proactive threat is just very, very scary.
Ooh, did he find another Moment of Truth?
Did find another Moment of Truth, yep.
Okay, but doesn't have the flat, so...
X coman, hostia, vaya robo, hermano. Eso qué cojones, tío.
That's a big spell that's gonna go unchecked.
Oh my, what a top deck. Wraths away the board, puts some counters on the bat, attacks for 6,
Coño, tío.
gains 3 life, loses 1 to draw a card. That could have easily been a Sunday appearance Gix command here.
Ya choca en su cabeza de ya, hostia, que lo tenía todo planeado en notas, ¿sabes? Manfield robando, hostia, esa buena. Dios, brutal, ¿eh?
Really going for him right now. Finally finds land 4, Moment of Truth. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it really is.
What can he find to get him out of this?
Soul Partition, aquí. Soul Partition a la mano, claro, es al Grave y es al bottom, tiene sentido. Soul Partition al murciélago. Voy a conceder el valor. Sí, porque lo tiene la Manlan y todo, nada. Qué tocho, Pero qué robo, tío. Gix Command toma en la boca.
World champion once again.
Once again. And
la muñeca de Manfield la escucho desde aquí, tío.
On my couch, watching Seth win the World Championship. You know, I teared up.
¿Qué cojones ha sido eso, de verdad?
The emotions just overwhelmed him when he won that championship so many years ago. I know how much he.
O sea, Seth Manfield iría ahora mismo. Era 9-1 o 10-1 ahora mismo.
Unbelievable.
Awesome. Y quedan 3 rondas de construido ahora mismo.
A chance though, obviously. Still plenty more opportunities to join Seth there. So, Shota fans, keep rooting for him, friends. We're going to take a very quick break, but when we come back, we're going to have Maria at the desk.
Aparte tenía la ira en mano, que era el Dolly Cover Up. Un momento, coño. Tenía el Dolly Cover Up en mano, que estaba bastante ok realmente la partida. Pero claro, realmente, joder, que tenía Kalisa y tenía luego para jugar el Dick Cavern, o sea, el murciélago. Jugó el murciélago y digo, para aquí el Dolly Cover Up no lo va a jugar ni de puta coña. Y digo, bueno, pues le quitará el Monastery, le exilia el Dijin y rollo se quedó con muy poquita presión en mesa. Literalmente Nege es una carta muerta, porque ahora el que tiene que tomar acción es Yashoka, no Manfield, ok. Y, coño, pues le venda bien. Pero hostia, ha sido rollo, vale, pues te quito tal, te doy el Monastery. El Monastery le puede llegar a remontar la mesa, hace Monastery y se roba el Gix Command. Y es como yo. ¿Sabías que estaba el Gix Command? O sea, es locura, literalmente locura. Madre mía. Pepo 5-6, ya por Pepo.
From October 26th through November 11th, you can get back into Standard right now with 5 pre-constructed decks available to purchase on the MTG Arena store. Hey everybody, welcome back to coverage of World Championship 30, now deep into day number 2 of competition here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. 57 competitors came back for day number 2. By the time we're done today, there will only be 8. Really exciting stuff here from the Convention Center with thousands upon thousands of Magic fans here to celebrate the world's greatest game. Well, it is spooky season here in the Convention Center, but somebody who doesn't have to be afraid anymore is Seth Manfield, who has locked up a spot in our top 8 and talked to Cedric after his huge win last round.
I am here with Seth Manfield,
sí, Manfield en plan, hola.
Match area of World Championship 30, a place that he knows.
Sí, me da mucha gracia la cara de
Seth
Manfield, en serio.
Best buds in this area, I think, all weekend long. Look, bud, the accomplishments, I think we know them by now, but what we don't know is about this Golgari deck that you're playing here this weekend. Give us a quick rundown.
Yeah, so I was the first one to kind of put the deck together. I was tasked with working on Domain, but I didn't really think that the Domain deck was consistent enough. And I really like the black removal spells. Plus, I like the green Overlord with up the Beanstalk. So I wanted to have the cheap spot removal.
Es con una interacción increíble. El up de Beanstalk con el Overlord dices, hostias. O sea, te marcas turno 2 Beanstalk, robas, turno 3 Overlord, robas por él y te pones una nada más, sigues rampeando. Me parece increíble,
I'm getting this over with early. Seth is into the top 8 with black cards. We saw what he did with those in Chicago. We're excited to see what you do with them on Sunday here in Vegas.
Y la partida final está peleada, contra
Your
Yashoka.
2015 world champ has a chance to do it again. Hey everybody, welcome back to the news desk. Maria Bartholdi, Mani
Que creo que va a costar menos realmente. Que a ver, que al nivel este, bueno, pues obviamente todas las partidas se pelean, pero me refiero que considero que la RAM puede estar muy por encima de la Ferus Tempo, yo creo.
Right now, Seth Manfield has locked up his
Seth primero, Domínguez 8-3, yendo 14, Kai Budo 8-3 también, y el corte acaba en Japón. A partir de ahí va Carvalho, que va también, a partir de ahí son X3, y acaba en Guillermo Loli, que va 7-4. De pedazo 8-3, mira, construido, tío, el mazo ese sí es una barbaridad. Ojo, que va remontando Manfield. Cuidado.
Kai Buda, the German juggernaut, one of the greatest players of all time, sitting at 8-3, as is Shota Yasaoka, another GOAT at 8-3. Javier Dominguez hanging in there at 8-3 as well. We are also keeping track of the Player of the Year race here in the building, which will be decided before the weekend is out, awarding excellence across an entire season of play. Let's take a look at who was in the running as we came into this tournament. We had Simon Nielsen out in front of the pack. He was leading the way. Seth Manfield hot on his heels. This is how things looked. But Mani
Player of the Year in standings.
Definitely not, Maria. As we've watched the matches play out, we are going to bring you an update of what that race looks like now. And the biggest news here is with Seth locking up the top 8. For Simon, if he wants to remain in the race, he needs to reach 10 match points today. This is not to say Seth has Player of the Year locked up, as Javier and Ely are still in top 8 contention as well, both at 8-3. But importantly for Simon Nielsen's bid at Player of the Year specifically, he needs to reach 10.
No creo, tío. O sea, no sé, no me entran muchas ganas, la verdad. Es donde fue la otra vez, ¿no? Allí en Dos Hermanas, ¿no? Si no recuerdo mal. Tengo mono de jugar, no te voy a decir que no, tío, pero yo que sé, están clasificados ya. ¿Tú vas o conseguí ya la plaza? Pero fue aparte.
With an obvious better deck, or if we are in a tier 1 larger with 2 or 3 deck and a tier 2 and 3 deck like most of the metagame on the Pro Tour.
¿Qué si la sacaste a lo mejor por el mall y tal, o fuiste otro CQ y te la sacaste y eso?
So you have to be ready to face.
Tengo ganas, sí, en verdad, pero yo que sé, es como que tengo ganas ya de simplemente jugar el RC y para adelante.
But what are other professional players doing in their preparation? For me, that usually means not
aparte me faltan un par de cartas que son mañana es mi última oportunidad física, es online.
The most popular deck in a format, it's not that I've got a bad deck, but all of my really well-prepared opponents are going to have a plan, they're going to have practice against me. It tends not to
yo
work
no voy a
out
ir,
well,
o sea,
with some exceptions.
Creo que va, no, el chaval estaciona por ahí, no sé quién va, tío, exactamente. ¿Juanro la tiene ya? ¿La plaza?
Maybe it's in the abstract a few percentage points worse, but when I'm actually at the table staring at
the board, de Cádiz de vuelo supongo que irán, ¿no? Y también irá Moy, entiendo, porque me ha contado eso.
A little bit better than my opponents, and so that's an approach I've taken recently.
Va, no la tiene. Sí, supongo que rollo se juntaréis varios allí. Por la plaza, a ver qué tal. Mucha suerte, tío, la verdad. Estoy por ir simplemente por echar el día allí, la verdad.
Pay really close attention to what happens when
me faltan tío dos
if my deck is really doing its thing and it's still getting crushed. Probably not a good sign. That deck's probably not a winner. But the reverse is true. If you're winning a large number of games where you're actually doing the thing, that's a very convincing case for me.
En este nos sacamos la plaza del Pro Tour otra vez,
tío. Especially helpful when considered a brew.
Yo voy preparado, la verdad que me siento muy preparado. Tal como está el meta, que solamente cambie, pero yo me siento muy preparado. Actualmente.
Only a few rounds left to go here on day 2 of competition at World Championship 30. We're getting ready for round number 12. Could be sending someone else into our top 8 with this game here.
Carvalho contra Japán.
Versus Marcio Carvalho
9-2 en el bracket del 8-3. Tío, el mismo matchup que contra Adri.
This is a win and in for Hafam. describes himself
Dimir
as a
Dimus
casual
contra la
player
PG.
who plays for fun. Well, guess what, buddy? You're doing really well at the World Championship, and I hope you're having fun. Marcial Carvalho, on the other hand, 10 top finishes to his name, twice lost in the finals of a World Championship, hopes to get back to a top 8
A lo mejor me pasa,
All right,
no sé.
Monty,
Ah,
tell me
no creo,
about
no creo, no creo.
All right, well, we are going to start by taking
sí que tengo
a
ganas de
look
jugar,
at
tío.
Hofam's build of Dimir
Pero,
Demons.
no creo.
Now, this is a little bit different from the Dimir Demons build that we saw the team.
Pero esta Dimus es diferente a la de Atri, porque Atri está jugando con los Dunste. Atri jugaba como una lista así súper diferente, tío. Rollo que va Dunste, ya va Jace, ¿sabes? Y es como que lo puedes mirar y tal. Ahora se lleva, no está por el Slasher y lleva el Kratos, o sea, lleva el combo típico y tal. Y lleva la Swing of Throws. Así como demonio Culmen, por así decirlo, que es el Ashton. Sí, básicamente los Masterminds llevan las 4 copias todas las versiones. Esto no sé lo que es. Go for the Thrower, 3 tours de main. Y esta es la BG Mid. La de antes era la RAM, la de Manfield, y bueno, pues esta es la Mid, que también me mola mucho. Una copia de esto, del Sentinel. No tengo Glissa solamente. Los Tranquil Free son la polla, los Bronco también. No sé qué decir. Yo creo que la RAM, de hecho, le gana a esta, quizás, ¿no? Porque es capaz de resistir mucho más al mid y al late. Aunque bueno, está un poco mala,
combo kill on top of what's going on. So disruption going to be really important for Marcio.
All right, this is a bit of a David versus Goliath matchup here, Monty. What deck do you like?
Well, Ha has already beat Golgari midrange once this weekend, so just based on that alone, I would want to give it to him, but, you know,
it's
Marcio.
Yeah, good point, Monty, good point. Round number 12, Ali and Corey are in the booth with the call.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you, Monty. Yeah, David versus Goliath.
Definitely.
To me, these two decks, it kind of looks like a Halloween party, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
The number of spooky things in both of these lists, it's going to be a little frightening indeed.
Definitely.
So, friends, we have a winning in here for Hofam. He is at 9 wins, 1 more to go if he is able to do that. His, I'm just playing this for fun, casual, happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to alter at all, because it seems to be working for him so far.
Yeah, and Hofam, you know, kind of told us in his survey that whenever he was taking the game a little too seriously, which is kind of what he did at his first Pro Tour in PT Chicago, it didn't go well for him. He went 1-5 in that Pro Tour and really attributed it to kind of taking Magic too seriously, and it felt like a chore to him. So for this World Championship, he took it very chill, really relaxed, and it seems to be very much working. Hofam was the winner of the regional championship in Toronto. Yep.
Woo, Canada.
There you go.
Let's go, buddy.
These are the absolute stories that I just love so much from this system. Winning the regional championship, making it here, and now playing a win-in against one of the better players here in the world in the hands of Marcio. Like,
how's that for a story? I'm just going to play this at my LGS. Oh, oops, I qualified for a regional championship. Oh, oops, I won the world championship. Oh, oops, I'm now playing against one of the best in the world for a spot in the top 8.
Exactly, yeah. If he makes the top 8 of the world championship next year, he might have to be burdened a little bit with taking Magic a little more seriously, as he'll be qualified for a lot of events.
But I do love the approach of, you know, just take it easy, enjoy the game. It's a game.
Honestly,
though, at the end of the day, it's a game.
I think that's great advice, to be honest, you know, because I have had multiple times in my much shorter, much less exciting career than, you know, Hofam's already doing. And I would always do a lot better at the beginning of the year when the pressure's really low. And then when the pressure's coming late, like, oh, if you win this, you're qualified for the next 4 Pro Tours type thing, my results would always tank. So I think this is a very good approach to the game. You need to relax. You need to be, you know, kind of just playing your comfortable game of Magic. Take it too seriously. Sometimes you can be playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
You end up beating
yourself.
Yeah, very true.
Get into your own head. And one piece of advice that I actually believe came from your brother, Brad Nelson. It's like, you know, what do you do after a bad beat? You know, just forget about it. Carry on.
Yeah.
Each game is a new game, so we're going to see both players taking apart each other's hands here.
Aquí algo que no he entendido muy bien. Supongo que no tendrá importancia, ¿eh? O sea, le he dejado el Mata, el Exilia en mano, que es menos importante, ¿no? Entre comillas. Pero...
How would you rate these two hands?
O sea, que se lo va a tirar ahí, supongo, para recuperar el otro, entiendo. Bueno, sí. Vale, sí, lo he hecho de puta madre, claro. O sea, al final al late tiene más importancia el cofre de throw, por lo que está obligado, si quieres recuperarlo, tirarle la nointe de ahí, por lo que pierde ahí y tal. Es que a lo mejor no le interesa la nointe porque a un late no... Pues para matar el Arching o Zero, por ejemplo, no le interesa. O para quitarse algo así del medio no le interesa y bueno, pues se lo puede dejar ahí exiliado, claro, pero no, aquí sí está obligado a tirarle la nointe de ahí para recuperar el cofre de throw, que es el removal bueno.
The flip side is actually true as well. We saw Marcio beat the Dimir Demon deck. It was a little different, but in the last round that we were casting yesterday, he kind of did some good work against Adrian.
Rush of Dread's not a card we've seen very often this weekend, and it's kind of like another way to get the combo going, because you can force the losing half the life with the Bloodlet on the board if the unstoppable slasher gets stopped,
Yeah.
That's what happens to it most of the time it hits the board.
And can be really nice up against a battlefield going wide, but yeah, overall, not the most exciting card by any means.
Mosswood Dread Knight on the board now. For Marcio, the Deep Cavern Bats go for the throat under lockdown. So both players just, getting ready for what looks to be a pretty grindy matchup.
Yep, absolutely. So can attack here, can play a land, and to be mana efficient, we might easily see this unstoppable slasher, but the Anoint with Affliction is face-up information. So Hoffam does know about that.
What do you think Marcio would value killing more, the slasher or the bat to get the other piece of removal back?
Gotta be the slasher. I mean, taking 11, when you're at 20 is just so brutal. Going down to 16, taking 8, it just hits for 10 here. You just have to deal with that card. And that is why Ha just decides to prioritize keeping it in hand until he can find another piece of removal to deal with that Anoint the Affliction. Because if you just deal with Unstoppable Slasher with a normal removal spell, like go for
el Dross por parte ya de Carvalho.
Eventually, and these mid-range mirrors can go pretty long.
Yeah. Archfiend of the Dross hits the board now for Marcio.
Sí, para que no lo va a jugar y tal, tiene sentido. Y Mastermind y ¿te va a quitar solo del medio el Japam?
Yeah, really good turn there for Ha, being able to deal with the threat and get another threat down. Kind of forcing Marcio into this turn. Next turn has to cast the adventure side of the Dread Knight.
Entonces ya sueño, la verdad. Empieza por aquí el streaming. Ya mañana volveré con Ramita normal, así que